Greetings, everyone. My name is Vorm. Welcome to my tabletop. Today I'm going to be playing Distilled, a spirited strategy game brought to us by Paverson Games. Before I get started, a couple things I want to mention. First off, not everything that you see on the table here is actually included in the box. There's a couple of items that I've acquired separately. First is the table mat that you see all these cards placed on. That's a custom table mat. The image that's printed on the mat was designed by a fan of the game and uploaded to the Board Game Geek files section website. So I downloaded that, emailed it to a company that produces mouse/table mats, and they printed the image on it and shipped it to me, and here we go. Does a really great job of kind of consolidating a lot of the different elements of the game and keeping it a little better contained and within camera view, so I find it very helpful. It's really well made, really enjoy it. So that is thing number one. And then thing number two are these little money chips. These are kind of premium poker chips. They're called Iron Clays from a company called Roxley, and I've got a tray full of them over here. They're wonderful to handle, and they've got weight and a little clack to them, so just realize those two things, the mat and these poker chip type money tokens, are separate. They do not come in the box. Yeah, other than that, you get everything that you see here. So this is not intended to be a playthrough where I'm going to do a full how-to teach tutorial for the game. I just want to roll through a full game of Distilled and give you an idea of how it plays, so you can make your own decisions on whether you'd like to buy it. It's a very, very well-produced game. I believe this is the first game by Paverson Games, and they did a wonderful job with it. Both the look and feel of everything. I mean, even the manual, this has a nice textured feel to it. And the inside of the manual, the rule book, is just wonderfully produced. Great colors and graphics. Very well written as well. I didn't have any problems following along and getting right into the gameplay. So great job there as well, but just about everything has a really, really good feel to it, good look to it. So if I had one criticism, it would be there's a lot of tiny text. It's spread out over a pretty wide section of table, and the text is really small, other than like the names on the cards. So I think I could have done with a little less size on the graphics and a little bigger on the text. And I think they're fixing some of that in a reprint or a re-release or some kind of an update coming out in the near future. How much of that they're going to address, I don't know. But yeah, that would be the one and only thing, I think, from a production standpoint that I could wish for. But otherwise, looks great, feels great, and it's very well done. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the game itself. What are we doing? So we are going to be taking the role of a master distiller, just opening up a brand new facility. There are a number to choose from. In this particular game, I'm going to be playing Angus Douglas, and we're going to be opening the Dalkeith Distillery, or distilling, in Scotland. So we have a little map symbol here showing that we're in the European region. There's 3 regions in the game, the Americas, Europe, and Asia-Oceania. There's reasons why that's significant. I'm not going to go into all the details now. It also gives us some starting resources, tells us what our starting recipe is, or our signature recipe, and our signature ingredient. Signature ingredient is here, the beer barley, and our signature recipe is this little token right here that slots into the board. Our single malt whiskey, you probably can't see this because the details, because it's pretty small. But it's got icons showing us various things about our single malt whiskey we're going to brew up. Or distill. I never know whether brewing is distilling or if they're actually exactly separate processes. Probably they are. All right. So this is our player board. We have an office where our character card goes. Each of the characters or distillers that you play have a different ability at the bottom, and I'll explain ours in a little bit. We have 3 different slots on top for distillery upgrades. That's this top row of cards here, the blue ones. We can purchase those cards and give our distillery various abilities. We have a pantry where we keep ingredients that we're going to be using. So currently we have yeast and water that we get at the start per our character's card. We also have our starting metal barrel and glass bottle. You always have these. They never go away. So That makes sure that you can always distill something every round. Then we have 2 slots for items that we can put into either wooden barrels or clay barrels in order to age them and improve their flavor profile, their value over time. Up the top here, the big play mat, we have a score-keeping track across the top where we keep track of our spirit points that we earn as we play. We have a basic market, a premium market, and on this side we have this section here is the solo mode Tama, which is the goal system that we're fighting against or we're playing against. We have to basically achieve a goal on each of the 5 rows and meet a certain point total. We add together this red number on whatever B goal we complete and whatever A goal we complete. And that tells us how many spirit points we have to have in addition to completing at least one goal on each of these rows. I've got the manual handy here. It's got a complete breakdown of the sequence of the round that we'll be following. There's some end game scoring opportunities that we'll go over in the end game. And that's almost it. So in addition, we have this little tray here with 3 different colored cubes. Those correspond to these right across this section of my board. This is called the tasting flight. And this is separate. You can choose from 8 different tasting flights. It mixes up which drinks are available, kind of where they're positioned on this chart in regards to whether they're a bronze, silver, or gold recipe, the payouts, etc. There's a lot more than just the drinks that you'll see in this first playthrough. And this adds some variety to the game. You're able to choose different tasting flights. But across the top, we have bronze for $2, silver for $4, and gold for $6. That corresponds to these little cubes here that show which recipe class they belong to. So we have to pay more for the bottom ones that have better payouts. And that's what we do with these. When we buy a recipe, we just take the appropriate cube, put it in the slot, and that shows that we're now able to produce that particular drink. And then we have this tray. This tray contains what's called spirit labels for all the different kinds of drinks that we can produce. And once we distill a beverage, we take the appropriate label for that, put it on top of the concoction, and then when we sell the beverage, we're able to place that spirit label on one of these 7 bonus slots across the top of our board. Each of these gives us some kind of a benefit. We can take any one we want in any order we want, but once they're covered, we can't take it again. So it's a one-time use for 7 different upgrades. Okay, that pretty much covers all the game elements on the table. I'm going to go over a little bit of detail in the mechanics as I proceed through the turns. But otherwise, I'm just going to start playing, and I'll inform you as we go. So, sequence of a round. I do want to mention just briefly the overall phases within a round. So first off, we have the market phase. I'm going to be buying raw ingredients, either from the premium market in this middle row, or there's the basic market here that also has the ingredients that we need. The basic market is more of a distiller's co-op where they can cooperate with each other, they transfer and trade items and so on. So some of the items in there will have a $0 value. That's because they're just tradable between the distilleries. Some of them are more expensive type of items and they do require a payment. So we've got 0, 0, 0, 3, 4, 1, and 2. But I'll be restricted to only taking 2 cards per turn from the basic market. Any 2 I want, any combination I want, but I'm limited to 2. The premium market, I can buy anything I want on that premium market as long as I have the money. No limits there. So we'll have a market phase where I can buy anything I want here, and I can grab 2 of these cards. Then we do a market cleanup. We're just going to follow the little chart on the top card of this B deck here. It shows which cards in the premium market we're going to discard into these piles. That just keeps the market refreshed and flowing with new cards every turn. Then we go to the distill phase. We combine the ingredients that we've gathered. We place them into 3 slots off to the side of our board, which is called the washback. That's that big metal vat that they pour all the ingredients into to distill. And there's 3 slots. There's a slot for yeast, a slot for water, and then a slot for some type of sugar. And those can be either grain sugars, fruit sugars, or plant sugars, depending on what we're intending to actually distill. But we set that up. We mix up the cards after we've made our decisions. We shuffle them, and then we randomly not randomly. We take the top card and the bottom card, which in the distilling process is commonly referred to as the head and the tails, and you discard those. And whatever's remaining is what you get to look up to see if you qualify for which kind of drink. So it adds a bit of a randomization process to the distillation because you never know exactly what you're going to get. And you'll see that in detail here very quickly. So that's the distill phase. Once we have finished the distill, we put it in a barrel, we grab our spirit label, and then it sits there until we either sell it in the next phase, or if it's an appropriate type, we put it into our warehouse to age. Then we have the sell phase after that, which is pretty straightforward. We have the aging phase, where anything that we place into our warehouse is going to be given a card from this flavors deck. And the cards in the deck just add a value to the drink when it sells. You can accumulate flavors every round they're in here, so it increases the value of the drink. In addition, the more flavors in the drink, there's a bonus section listed here that when you sell the drink, depending on how many flavors it contains, you get a bonus score in your Spirit Point Award. Then, after the age phase, we just do an end of round check. Really, all that's going to happen there is if we did not sell something during the turn, we'll have the opportunity to what's called hold a tasting. And that allows us to remove up to a maximum of 4 points from our score, 4 spirit points, and convert that directly into money. So up to 4 total. Other than that, we'll just advance the round marker that's on the far right side of the board. And then we start over again with the next round. So there's only 7 rounds in the game, and that's a very tight squeeze, especially when you're considering this little tableau of goals that we have to achieve over here. So we start at the bottom of this list, and we have to achieve a goal, move up to the next rank, achieve a goal, move up to the next rank. It is sometimes possible to achieve multiple of the goals in a single turn. Depending on which kind of goal it is, there's 3 or 4 different categories of goal, like collect, sell, earn. There's various types, and they have various rules for when you can claim them. But we do get rewarded with some spirit points for most of these. So what we got to do here is very carefully examine the goals, especially those top 2 cards. Those are the 2 hardest cards. There's A cards, B cards, and C cards kind of in this setup. And if you want to vary the difficulty, you can change the arrangement to make it easier or harder. So for example, C cards are the easiest. You could replace the B row with all C cards and just make it C, 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 A, or even B at the top. Or the reverse, you can make it harder by using a harder level of card in any of the other categories. So it's nice, with the randomization of the cards that you draw from a larger deck, gives you different options, as well as you can change difficulty mode that way as well. So what we've got up top there is collect 5 non-vodka spirit labels that require grain sugars, and collect 6 non-aged spirit levels. I'm only going to try to achieve 1 of those, and I'm going to go for the left-hand one that wants us to collect 5 non-vodka spirit labels that require grain sugars. I'll get into the details of the tasting flight and the recipes in a bit, but that's the one we're going to aim at. So we're going to be paying particular focus on non-vodka, so not that. Grain, those are the 3. So soju, whiskey, and baijiu. Those would be the 3 that require grain sugars on our current tasting flight. I'm probably going to focus just on soju and whiskey. I don't think I'm going to try to go for baijiu. But we need 5 total labels, meaning we need to brew one of those recipes 5 times, or any combination of those. It's not specific. We don't need different labels. We could do the same exact thing. We could do 5 soju if we want. They just have to be 5 total non-vodka spirit labels that require grain sugars. So that's going to be my goal on that line. So in the B row, probably we'll go for this card here, collect 3 bottles used for spirits of the matching region. The other option we might be able to do is sell a spirit worth 20 or more. Problem with that is it's almost impossible. That's a spirit points worth 20 or more. That almost guarantees that it has to be our signature drink, because it scores us 20 points, 20 spirit points all by itself. Because 20 points, spirit points, is really hard to come by if it's not your signature recipe. So to do that, I have to make sure I carefully time completing the rows below it, have that ready to go when I manage to make my signature one, and then I'd be able to qualify for that. So it can be a little tricky in the timing there. Then we might need to change our mind as we wend through that pathway of different goals. Because if I complete this goal, it unlocks these two. This goal unlocks these two. It uses an adjacency system as we climb our way to the top. All right, let's go ahead and start playing. I think that covers most of the basics to give you an overview of what's going on, and you should be able to keep track. I'll give more details as we proceed, of course. So first thing we do, we have a market phase. In the market phase, we're going to be changing up which ingredients. We got to make our decision on what 2 free ones we want. Well, not free, but what 2 basic market cards, and if I want to try to buy any of the premium market stuff. $2 is not a lot to deal with. In this first distilling in round 1, we don't have a lot of choices. We don't have the materials, the ingredients, the specialty items we need to make the fancy stuff yet. We haven't purchased any of these other recipes yet. So it's probably going to be moonshine or vodka, depending on how lucky we are with what cards are removed from our distillation. But if we take a look, we have to have 3 different things. We have to have a yeast, so we'll put that there. We have to have a water, so we got that covered with our starting equipment. We don't have any sugars currently. And so we are absolutely, with one of our 2 choices, going to grab a mixed grain. That's the bare minimum in order to do any kind of distillation. Just that right there. Now, in addition to that, I think I'm going to grab one additional. I'm torn. I want to get this sell a spirit containing 2 water or more. I could get it out of the way early if we get. I'm not sure if it would be lucky or unlucky. If I bought a second water to add and we managed to come out of it with 2 water at the end, we would be able to complete that goal immediately. The alternative is that I can get the yeast. The benefit of grabbing the yeast doesn't cost you anything to get it, and it actually earns you 1 money. That would give me 3 to spend possibly on something else up here. Let's go with so poor. I usually want to go with yeast, but man, it would be great to get out of that first category on that row. I think I'll go for the yeast anyway. That would let me buy sorghum, but I need to save money for a wooden barrel. We're not going to earn much money with this first distillation. There's no barrels I can take for free down here. And by free, I mean by taking one of these bonuses up top till it cycles the market, and we hopefully get a better draw next time. Let's all right. Let's take the riskier route. Let's take an extra water. I'll actually throw it in there. All right. So I've gotten the 2 I wanted there. I'm going to hold my $2. I was thinking of getting the sorghum. The benefit of the ingredients in particular, the other items as well, but the ingredients in particular, the benefit there is the premium ingredients provide a bonus to the amount of money you'll get when you sell the item and a spirit point bonus. These basic ingredients don't do either. They don't give money or a spirit point bonus. So you can use these, but it's suboptimal. You want to be trying to use the good stuff so that you have a very tasty beverage that you can sell. So the more of this I can get a hold of, the better. And we've got 2 grains out there currently, corn and sorghum. But this is a tricky timing that I've got to do. I got a lot of things I got to pay for. So I'm going to not buy anything this first round. We'll just save our money and we'll call it good right there, I think. So I've done my 2 items from the basic market. We're choosing not to buy anything from the premium market. So we go to a market cleanup phase. We're going to discard the top card of this deck. And it shows us on the chart there which cards that we're going to be discarding. Slide everything over. And replace the card. Come on, give me a good barrel. Well, there's the American Standard. There's one barrel, I believe, better than that. And a clay barrel. All right. So, there we go. We have refreshed the market. I'll kind of point out specific things about some of these cards and why we might take them in a bit. I prefer to get some of these upgrade cards for the distillery into these slots as quickly as possible because a lot of them they're expensive to buy and you don't really get your money back if you buy them later in the rounds. By the time you get them and start getting the benefit, you're not even going to pay off what you spent to acquire the cards. So it seems like a lot of them work that way, and you got to be kind of quick to make sure you go grab those upgrades as soon as possible. So from the list up there, I see the one I want is the Spirit Safe, the one that just came out. It says during the distill phase, may choose to return one of the removed cards back to the spirit. So as I talked about the distillation process, we're going to be removing the top card and the bottom card from the mix. Those actually get returned to our pantry. They're not lost entirely. They just get put back into the pantry. They get stored, and then they get used in a next drink or the later drinks. And being able to put one of those cards back into the drink is very, very important because if we lose the sugar, which is the most important of the mixture, that's really the determiner of what we're making and what we qualify for. It's all about the sugars. The other two are fairly irrelevant. They have no relevance to which of the recipes we're managing to create. So being able to put a sugar back in would be really, really beneficial. It also improves our chances of having higher values because the more cards that we have in our drink, the more likely we'll have benefits of more money or more spirit points and so on. So I think that one's really good, and that's why it's 7 versus 5, 4, and 6. It's one of the better cards. So I want to get that with the spirit label probably before it gets eliminated, and we get to use it right away. Okay, so yeah, we've done the market cleanup. Let's go to the distill phase. So this is the fun part. This is where we mix everything together. We've used all the items in our pantry. We've got a very basic ingredient mixture here. We've covered the 3 requirements. The only other thing we do is however many sugar cards we put into our recipe, and we have 1 currently, you draw 1 alcohol card for each sugar card that you've added. You then take all the cards in the mix, shuffle them up, discard top and bottom, and you're off. So okay, the heads lost the alcohol, and the tails we lost the yeast. So we retained our grain and we retained our 2 water. So that's actually pretty good. That's almost the best result. No, that is the best result. That is exactly the best result. The only downside of the alcohol is we lost the $1 increase, but if we had lost any of the other cards, we wouldn't have qualified for that goal, or we would have lost our sugar, which changes which of these we qualify for. So that's a good result for us. All right, so we'll leave our drink stuff there. These 2 cards go back into our pantry for use in another concoction later. And then we check the chart. So we start always knowing, and in every game, you'll always start knowing moonshine and vodka. The difference between these 2, these are kind of safety net distillations. You will always, always be able to make either moonshine or vodka because moonshine is any drink that you've mixed that does not have any sugars in it. So we still have our sugar card in the mix. So we have made vodka, which is a drink that has any sugars in it. So it's pretty simple in regards to what you have made. You just count your sugars, the sugar type and how many, and then you check your chart. Check this lower chart here to see if you qualify for any. So in soju's case, we would need 2 grain sugars. In whiskey's case, we need 2 grain sugars. And in baijiu, we need 3 grain sugars still in the drink. So we just check that chart first. If we don't qualify for any of that, then we've made one of these 2 starter ones. All right, so in this case, we made vodka. So we're going to go grab spirit label for vodka. Just set it on top of our drink mixture there for a moment. And that is it for the distillation phase, other than we have to stick it in a barrel. Almost forgot the barrel. So we're going to use our starter metal barrel that we always get to have. And then we'll use the bottle when we go to sell it. We'll add the bottle to the mix. Okay, distillation is complete. Now we go to the sell phase. So the important distinction in the sell phase is if you have distilled something in a metal barrel, which it shows for the recipe listing here kind of in the middle. And it has a little circle with a slash through it on the timer indicator, meaning you're not allowed to age those kinds of recipes. The whole list is separated into metal barrel or wooden barrel / clay barrels. And the distinction is you cannot age any of these top recipes that show a metal barrel. Those all have to be distilled and then sold in the same turn. Everything else, from whiskey down to brandy or even to my signature recipe, all of these show the wooden barrel symbol or the clay cask, and those indicate that they have to be aged. So just two main distinctions. So we have brewed up the vodka in a metal barrel, as indicated. So we now have to sell this product. So grab it up. We add the bottle that we're going to use to sell it out to the consumers. And there are various bottle choices we can pull from here if we purchased. These bottles in the premium area are worth more money generally and also have a spirit award bonus attached to them as opposed to these very basic items we're using currently. So we want to move to premium products as quick as possible, even for the barrels and bottles. All right. In the sell phase, really all we're going to do is we're going to look in the top left corner and count the money symbols, followed by watching the bottom left corner to count the spirit point symbols. So in this case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 so far. And then we have a symbol here on the label for the vodka on our tasting flight that says 1 as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have earned 5 of the monies. Now, if we look in the bottom left corner, we have no spirit point awards on any of our cards for this drink, but the recipe provides us with 2. So vodka gives 2. And that's pretty much it. So we have sold our drink. We'll take the starter bottle and barrel, put them back into the storeroom for use next round. Return these cards to their respective piles. And we've got our money, we've got our spirit point award. Now we have to spend our vodka spirit label. I am going to take a free upgrade. I'm going to cover that slot up, so this is the only time I can use it. And we're going to go ahead and pick up that card I talked about, the spirit safe. So it's an equipment upgrade. It allows us to put back one of our removed cards when we're distilling. Normally costs $7 if I wanted to just buy it off the market as opposed to using a special ability award. And it also at the end of the game will award us 1 free spirit point. So we'll just stick that in the first slot here. And we are all set right after I refill the position with a specialist biochemist. They're running across the top. Let me just explain these real quick. I'll just read their abilities. For $3, the biochemist, at the start of our turn or round, you can add a basic yeast card to your pantry. So it gets you a free yeast card at the beginning of every turn. The second card, the glass works. Once per market phase, may discount 1 bottle by $2. So it makes it cheaper for us to buy bottles from the premium market during the market phase. The large storage rack is once per market phase may discount 1 item by $1. So any item I want anywhere, I can pay 1 less for if we have the large storage rack. And finally, the worm tub. During the distill phase, may add 2 additional, what is that symbol? That is the yeast symbol. So, okay. It would allow us to add yeast cards for free to the mix, which would help. The more cards you have, the less likely you are to remove important cards from the mix. Yeast has no function. I mean, it's required for distilling, but for scoring purposes and money purposes, it doesn't help any. So they're used as cards you want to see discarded, because that means you're saving the good stuff, which is the washback and water and alcohol, which actually has a dollar value bonus. All right, so those are the ones that are now out on the board. That is it for the sell phase. Let's go to the age phase. We have nothing to age in our warehouse, so we're going to skip that. Then we do the end of round check. We did sell something, so I'm not allowed to do the tasting, where we can trade spirit points for money. So we just advance the round marker. And from here, we're ready to move into the second round. Okay, before we begin round 2, I almost forgot. We qualified for our first solo goal card. So we did successfully sell a spirit containing 2 water or more. So that is now complete. Let's just use a 100 money chip to mark it. And we have received 2 spirit points, taking us to 4. And that unlocks the C cards directly above it. So our next options are sell a spirit containing no basic sugars, or collect 2 bronze tier spirit labels. So the 2 bronze tier spirit labels are these cards, the spirit labels, meaning we have to actually brew 2 bronze tier spirits. And I was actually already planning on unlocking soju, which is bronze tier. So that kind of falls into place. I think that's probably what we'll go for. We might accidentally complete this one if we remove the sugars from whatever we're going to produce, but we've lessened that possibility because of the spirit safe. So I think timing-wise, what's probably going to happen is I'm going to make soju. I'm going to try to make soju this round. Next round, if I can manage it, I want to produce our signature recipe. So that means we make soju successfully. We grab the soju label, and I cover this bonus here, which is move your signature ingredient to the pantry. Right now, this is kind of out of play. But if I cover that with one of my spirit labels, I can then push this over into my pantry and use it as one of the ingredients in our signature drink. So my hope is on turn 3, we can manage to pull off getting our signature drink distilled and then aging in our warehouse. And then we'll probably do a round or 2 more of soju, or if I have the cash available, I'll try to unlock whiskey, which has basically the same requirement, only it's 2 grain sugars that have to be aged every round, as opposed to 2 grain sugars in a metal barrel that I can sell. So it's a really tight balance there, because aging basically, while it does increase the value slightly each turn you age, it means you're not selling something that round. So money is really tough to come by, and it's really hard to be buying upgrades, buying premium ingredients, constantly buying barrels from the market. I mean, even the basic market barrel costs 4. So the American Standard barrel here is 5 and has a special ability as well as a bonus spirit point award. So you want this, but you don't always get barrels, which means you have to go back to the basic one that's always available. It's just a very, very tightly balanced race against the amount of goals we have to make and a very, very short turn limit. We only have the 7 turns or rounds. So that's the tough part. Okay. So yeah, we'll see which of these we actually finish up here. But I need to ideally have one of these finished next turn. No, 2 turns away. I got 2 turns to get one of these 2 done, because I got to prep for this one. I want my signature recipe or signature drink sold. We can qualify for this one. So a lot of timing to figure out and to account for. All right, let's go ahead and start the next round. So we got the award all done there. Now we're just going to go to the top of the market phase. So what are we going to grab? We have in our warehouse, after finishing the last distillation phase, a yeast already. Just go ahead and slot these in now. And an alcohol. Now, one of the interesting things about alcohol is at the bottom it has text that says can be used as either water or yeast in your washback. So this can be considered either for a yeast location or the water location. So we'll just tuck it into water. That way we've got those two covered. And then again, it's all about the grain, all about the sugar, that is. So I am going to pay the 2 in order to unlock the soju recipe. So 2 for a bronze, bronze, bronze. Everything matches up. So we now are qualified to produce soju. In order to do so, it requires 2 grain sugars to be in the final distillation after we do the discard, and it can only be aged in a metal barrel and then sold immediately. So it's only worth 5 spirit points when we're done selling it, whereas whiskey, a little further down, has the same 2 grain requirement. Has to be aged in a wooden barrel for at least 1 turn, but it's worth double the spirit points. But that 1 turn difference is significant. So. Okay, so we've got the recipe I want this round. I need at least 2 grains. So my choices are I can either grab the 2 there and not grab any of the other items, or I can buy from the premium market. And I also need to make sure I time having a decent wooden barrel next round, because that's when we're going to brew up, try to brew up our signature recipe, and we got to have the barrel ready ahead of time. So I either need to make sure I buy that next round or buy that this round. Let's try to stretch things out a bit. Let's go ahead and spend the 5 on this American Standard Premium barrel to get us set up for next round. And there's another American Standard barrel. Okay, and then we're going to be forced now, if I want to make the recipe we're after, have to take 2 grain for my 2 basic market items. Now we're done. I got no money left. We've maxed out our 2 items from the basic market. So we go to the market cleanup. Hopefully the barrel stays. Stay barrel. Stay grain. I don't care about fruit and I don't care about plant ingredients. You barrels and grains, you stay on the board, please. Let's see what discards we get. We got 3 and 4, followed by 2, 3, and 4. So the cheap grain stuck around. And finally, the barrel went away. Oh well. We can get that back. One of these bonuses up here is we can trade any card from our pantry in order to take any card we want from these discard piles. That's an option we're going to be looking at closely here in the near future. Okay, I don't need clay barrels. Here's some more grain. And more grain. Unfortunately, I'm only going to be able to buy probably none of these. We won't have my... the whole row is grain. Uh-oh. I don't actually like that. That's going to cycle a lot of grains from the deck out before I can actually take advantage of them. Natural Spring, which adds a basic water card to your pantry at the start of the turn. And the Farmer Specialist, add a basic grain card to your pantry. Ooh. Ooh. Free grain card at the beginning of each turn. That would actually help out pretty significantly. I'll think about that. But again, we've already taken our free upgrade bonus, so I'd have to buy it. And I got a lot of things I got to pay for and no money. All right, so we've done the market cleanup. Let's move to the distill phase. In the distill phase, I've got nothing else to do. We're out of cards, so we've got everything applied. We have 2 grain cards. That means we get to add 2 alcohol cards to the mixture. Grab everything and shuffle it up. Heads and the tails. 2 alcohol cards. So that means we kept our grain, both of them. So we do qualify for the soju. I get to put 1 card back, so it doesn't matter. This card goes back into our pantry. All right, pretty good brew. So got that done. We're going to throw this into the metal barrel. We have to. We're saving that for our signature drink, hopefully next round. Then we grab the label for soju. There it is. All right, distillation is complete. Then we go to the sell phase. This is a metal barrel, have to sell immediately type of a drink. So let's do so. Again, we're just going to count up the dollar amounts in the top left. 1, 2, 3. And then there's no dollar values assigned to the basic recipes you brew for any of these, just these first two. That way you're always able to get a little bit of income to do things with the two basic recipes. But these don't do that. You're expected to get all of your money from the cards and the final sale, not from the recipe itself. So, just $3 bucks. And no spirit point bonuses in the bottom left corner. So we just get the 5 spirit points listed for the soju. Okay, that is it. Metal barrel goes back. Piece of grains. Yeast and alcohol. And we have our soju spirit label, which is a bronze, which meets the first of those. The timing on that's not quite going to work for what I need. My goal of selling or distilling my signature recipe is not quite going to time correctly because I need next round to do another soju essentially to get rid of this, and then the round after. Oh, nope, that's the sell of spirits, so that's going to take 2 rounds. No, we're okay. We're okay. Not distill the spirit, it's sell the spirit, so that'll be at least 1 round later. So yeah, we're actually okay. All right, so what are we going to spend this on? Our choices are earn 5 money or 2 spirit points, move a signature ingredient to the pantry, which I do need to accomplish either, well, now preferably. Discard a card from the pantry to grab something from the truck, get a free ingredient from the list, a free recipe unlock, which I would take whiskey if we did that, and a free item on this list. None of the items are calling to me right now. I don't need these. If it was one of the fancy wooden barrels, I would grab it. Free ingredient, I mean, if I didn't have more important things, sure, I'd grab that corn. That's worth 4. And then there's probably good stuff in the discard pile I would grab as well. But I think timing-wise, we've got to do the move signature ingredient. So let's get that over into our pantry. All right, so I've got 1 of the 3 required grains available in my pantry. And an alcohol card I can use either or, but whatever I use it for, that means I've got to use one of the other cards up here to sub in for the missing one, which means I can only grab 1 mixed grain, which gets me to 2, which means I got to buy 1. So, so many things. All right. Yeah, distracted myself well. So we took our bonus. Sell phase is complete. We have nothing aging, so we skip that phase. End of round check. We did sell, so I can't do the tasting. So we just move the marker to round or turn 3, and we're back to the top again. So goal next round still. Let's see. I need to make soju this round again. So we're going to make soju this round. It's going to be turn 4 before I get my signature out. Yeah, soju this round finishes that. Next round. Or can I do it in the reverse? Can I do my fancy drink this round? Get it into the warehouse aging? Then do soju the round after? That would let me in the sell phase That means I wouldn't be able to sell my spirit until the round after that. I'm not sure I can eke out enough money to keep me going at that rate. Yeah, the timing's going to be weird. All right. Yeah, let's I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I think I will go for getting my signature recipe if I can manage it next round. It might be better to push it off one more round, just do soju next round and then go into my good drink. Let it age a turn or two while I keep knocking out soju each round. The benefit to the soju, even though it's worth less of the spirit points, is I don't have to be buying the expensive metal barrels. That's the problem, as you can see, are the expensive wooden barrels. There's no wooden barrels here, and I'd have to pay 4 for even a basic barrel that doesn't give me any money and no spirit points. Suboptimal. So, yeah, I much as I want to get that early bump from our signature recipe, I think I'm going to hold off on it and wait one more round. So we'll go for soju next round. Just build up, hopefully, our cash supply a little bit. Possibly, if I keep it to a simple recipe, no, I got to make sure we get 5 of those labels. I can't go back to selling moonshine or vodka. We just don't have enough leeway. Yeah, all right. I'm going to go that route. We're going to do soju next round, and then we'll do the signature ingredient the round after that if we can line everything up. Okay. Moving on to round 3. So, we don't have any start of round effects. We go to the market phase. So, let's go ahead and set these out. So, we've got our, whoops, not using our beer barley for that recipe. So, that is the only option we've got. That's a bit of a problem. That means I have to take that. Actually, let's move this up to this position for a very specific reason. So again, alcohol can be used as either alcohol from your pantry here can be used either as a yeast or as a water. But if I use it as a yeast, that means I can take the water from this list. You know, I want the money. I want the money. Never mind. I'm reversing myself. I was thinking I wanted the water because water has a benefit like yeast. You take yeast, you get $1. You take water, and when you purchase it, you get to reveal the top card of any of the market decks to everybody playing, just me at this point. And then you can either purchase it or put it on the bottom of the deck. So I basically get to peek at the top card, and at that time I can decide to buy it, or I have to put it back on the bottom of the deck. But I'd rather go yeast. Money is really tight, so we'll grab another money. All right, so we have our basic. In order to make soju, which is the goal, I need at least 1 more grain. The more the merrier, but at least 1. So we got 2 cheap grain out there. Doesn't matter which I get, they're identical for mechanics purposes. Spend $2 and they're worth 1 extra SP if they're in the mix at the end. So we'll spend 2 and just grab the rice. Add that in as our second. So what we don't want to have happen is me drawing both of the grain cards from the discard. If that happens, I can only put 1 back in, but then we still won't qualify for soju. So that would be bad. Turbo yeast. During the distill phase, add 1 additional yeast. Okay, I gotta save the money. So, got the bare minimum we need to hopefully make another batch of soju. Can't afford anything else, so we are done with the market phase. See what the cleanup tells us to do. Oh, that beautiful grain. I also don't yet have a fancy bottle for my signature brew I got coming up. The tour guide, start of the round, gain a buck, and the drone camera. Drone camera is fun. I haven't actually ever purchased it and used it, but its ability is once per round, you can copy the ability of any other upgrade card on the top row there. So it gives you a variable option. You can just take whichever one you want once per turn. Kind of fun. One of these days, I'll get that one out in my upgrade section of my distillery. Vorm and barley. Vorm at $2, barley at $4. Barley pays out 2 extra money when you sell the distillation, plus gives 2 spirit points. So that's good quality stuff there. The barley. Barley is also a requirement for our specialty drink, but we already have our signature ingredient that is barley, so we got that covered. Ooh, a wax sealed bottle. That's an America's high-end bottle. Dang it! What's with all these stupid clay barrels? I'm sick of seeing clay barrels. Game, give me something else in this deck. There's also no good bottles for the European market. Bottles are fairly important because they increase the dollar value when you sell and the spirit points. If you're selling a drink that has a region that matches the bottle it's being sold in, you also get a bonus to the amount of spirit points. And at the end of the game, one of the additional scoring options or possibilities is the bottle collection. So after you sell the drink, you keep the bottle, you set it aside, and then you check this bottle collection chart over here. And for any region where you have multiple bottles, you count up the number from that same region, and it pays out higher values the more bottles you have from the same region. And then there's a second scoring opportunity where if you have at least 1 bottle from each of the 3 regions, you score an additional 5. So bottle selection can be pretty important in a number of ways, assuming you've got the money to actually get it done. Okay, market has been refreshed. Let's go to the distillation phase. I am not adding anything else to our distillation. We have 2 sugars, so we add 2 alcohol to the mix. All right. Heads and the tails, 2 alcohol cards. No problem. Put 1 back in because of our equipment ability. 1 goes over to our pantry. And we've successfully made soju once again. Get in the metal barrel. All right. We are all set. Distillation phase complete. Cell phase. Same as before. 1, 2, 3. With no bonus for the recipe itself, so just 3. And we got 1 spirit point for our rice ingredient, and we've got 5 for the recipe, so 6 more spirit points. Metal barrel back into the equipment section. The rice is a premium ingredient. All right. Soju. We are taking barley would be okay for the free ingredient. I haven't done the recipe unlock yet. I'm still tempted to get the whiskey going. Because we're going to have scoring point problems. We're not going to have enough SP points, I don't think, if we just keep making soju regularly. And again, none of these are calling to me. The clay barrels are useless. The mason jar, if you're selling moonshine in the mason jar, you earn more money. You get 4 money instead of 2. The mason jar has a variable money depending on if it's got moonshine or not, so that doesn't really help us much. And the wax seal bottle is specifically an America's bottle. I mean, I wouldn't say no to it, but I'm gonna wait for a better selection. So not really worried about it. I think I got more powerful choices I can make. We've already taken our freebie here. I could trade an alcohol for one of the cards in the discard. The problem is, if my plan next turn is to make my signature ingredient, that's got to include 3 sugars. I have a barrel. I'd like a better bottle, so hopefully a better bottle comes up. Well, no, that's what I got to choose from, because cleanup's after the market phase. So that's unfortunate. But I'm going to need 2 more grains to go with our signature grain. And then I got to make sure I don't discard 2 of them, because I can only put 1 back. So the more grains I can throw in there to protect myself and make sure I get the recipe done properly, the better. So let's do the free ingredient this round. Take the barley. That gives me 2 really good strong ingredients to add in. Then I just need 1 more grain, or 2 to give myself a safety margin. That would guarantee we make what I want. Alright, so we've taken our ability. That is the cell phase complete. Now we also just collected 2 bronze tier spirit labels. Actually, we officially collected it when we distilled it, but we have unlocked this one here. So a couple of spirit points on the track there. And that one is complete. So that gives us access to those 2. So now I can do the, when we complete our primary drink, which is going to take 2 turns before I likely sell it, then it's going to be just what's up here, because we're on track for the top one. We've got 2 done already. Our signature recipe, if we get it made, will be a 3rd. So if I just make soju a couple more times after that, yeah, we'll be on track. So we're looking pretty good over here. It's just going to depend on what's in these C columns, which are usually fairly easy, but it could interrupt my flow to make sure I get my 5 grain spirit labels. All right, we'll see. But we've got that all lined up now. So we're good on that track. We've got our barrel, but not a fancy bottle. I think we've got everything in play for the ingredients we need for our signature drink. We've got just enough money to buy a little bit of insurance. So, turbo yeast again. Okay, we have no age phase. End of round check. We sold something, so we can't do the tasting. We move to round 4. All right, moving back to the top of the round, the market phase. So we've got the 2 fancy grains, and I'll probably go water there. So we'll pick up a yeast to get another money to fill in the yeast requirement. I also need at least 1 grain. We've got sorghum on the board. I could go yeast, grain, grain. That gives me triple grains, which guarantees we'll be able to make what we need, because if we discard... No, they'll give me 4 grains. So if we end up discarding 2 from the top and bottom discards, I get to put 1 back, which gets us back up to 3, which guarantees we'll qualify. So that's a safety measure. We could do that. Unfortunately, no, we can exactly afford it. That would be 4. That'd be 2 for 6 total. I'm going to get 1 money from picking up the yeast. So we could pull it off. It's not ideal getting this bottle, but It adds 2 to the sell value, so I get some of that back, and it gives us 2 spirit points. Is it worth it? Might not be worth it, actually. I might just have to sell it in a basic bottle. Wait for better opportunities for the fancy bottles. Definitely be worth it if we were selling an America's Spirit, but we are a European distillery, so it doesn't qualify. Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I'm going to have to sell my fancy drink in just a basic starting bottle. Money's too tight. We got too many other things we got to get done. This is the hardest recipe we'll produce, but I'd still like to switch to whiskey for the last couple if I can manage it. All right. Yeah, well, let's do the thing we know we have to do. So that earns us 1 more money. And I do want to guarantee that we can make our signature drink. So we've done our 2 cards. Do I want to spend any more money on the premium market? Things I need to consider. Staging in that. Actually, we've got 1 more round to buy a bottle. I don't have to bottle it until we actually sell it. So we might have 2 rounds to go for that. So we're okay there. I could spend the remaining 4 on the silver recipe unlock for whiskey. Get it out of the way. But we have a free recipe unlock there, so I'm hesitant to do that. I think with our signature label, that might be the one I go for. Save the money so that we can buy, hopefully, a better barrel for the whiskey that we're hoping to produce after that. Yeah, I think I'm going to save the money. I got too many other things coming up that we got to make sure we can accommodate. Okay, market cleanup. What are we getting rid of? 1 and 4, drone and biochemist. Warehouse manager during the sell phase may double the money received from a single flavor card in each spirit sold. Okay. Could be interesting if you manage to get some good flavor cards. That would actually pair really well with the special ability for Angus. So the reason that is true, I don't remember if I read his ability, but when aging a spirit in your warehouse, draw 3 flavor cards instead of 1. Pick 1 to add to the spirit and discard the other 2. But typically, when you place spirits to age in the warehouse, when we get to the aging phase in the turn sequence, round sequence, we draw 1 card from the flavor deck here and stick it into the drink face down without looking at it. For Angus, we draw 3, get to look at them, pick the best one, and then put it in the drink. So the flavor cards vary from increasing the value 0, 1, or 2. Maybe there's a couple of rare 3 value cards in there. But it increases the chances that I'll get a higher value card, which then combined with the warehouse manager, doubling the money received from a single card, which in our case would be more likely to be a high value card. That could be a really powerful combo. So we'll see if we might be able to fit that in, because money is always really tough. And if I could manage to get that, that'd be great, especially for the sale on something really important like our signature drink. All right. So market cleanup. I wasn't done, was I? I got distracted there. So 1, 2, and 4 going away on this one. Followed by 2 and 4. Figs, agave, and some barley. That's a little better. Still, where are the wooden barrels? Etched Crystal Decanter. That's one of the good bottles for the European market, finally. So that would be something I'd like to get to sell our premium drink in. When selling, gain 2 spirit points. If selling a European spirit, gain 4 points instead. So we spend 4 to buy it. We get 2 of it back when we sell. And then we also earn 4 spirit points if we have a European distillation in there. So that'd be a good one for us. So that's why I was hoping we would get something like that. Okay, market cleanup phase is done. Moving to the distillation phase. We're out of ingredients, so we're making whatever we got here. And the benefit of this stacking, there's multiple benefits here why you want to do this. We've stacked it with sugars. I talked already about how this guarantees that I'll make this drink that I want, my signature recipe. Because even if we discard 2, I get to put 1 back, which gives us our 3 that we need for the signature recipe. So we did that. We guaranteed it by having this many cards. But we also have 4 sugars. I get to add 4 alcohol cards, each of which in the final distillation adds another money. So a lot of reasons. And having all that alcohol increases the size of the card count, which limits or reduces the chances we'll drop out the important stuff. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Heads, alcohol, tails. Oh, our beer barley. Now, this is I didn't mention this, but the signature ingredients have a special ability. If removed from the spirit stack during the distill phase, you may return it to the spirit you just distilled. So this is interesting because I get to put this back because of this ability, and then I get to put this back because of this ability. Best of all worlds. We get to keep all the cards. Oh, look at all that money sitting there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 money sitting there. Plus the recipe itself has a reward of 3. That takes us to 12. Plus we're going to get flavor cards that are hopefully going to add to this to take it even higher. Oh, good stuff. All right. Now we're going to barrel it, which is also going to increase the value. So we're going to throw it in the wooden barrel. And the American Standard barrel premium is once per age phase, gain 1 money if this barrel is aging in your warehouse. So as soon as I move it to the warehouse, then when the age phase rolls around, we get to earn money that way too. All right, so that is complete. We got it barreled up. We're going to take our label here, stick that on top of it, and just wait a second. So distill phase is finished. We go to the sell phase. We have nothing to sell this turn. No income. Then we go to the age phase. So we now add this to our warehouse aging section for our distillations that are in wooden barrels and require aging. As soon as we put that here, a couple things are going to happen. So the barrel itself is going to earn us another money. And then we're aging the spirit in our warehouse during the aging phase, so we get to draw 3 cards. We got a 2-value coriander flavor. That's one of the really good ones. I think there's a couple of 3s, but they're really rare cards. So that's a really good start. That's probably the one we'll take. Then we got cinnamon, also worth 2. And finally, oh, caramel. There's the good one. All right. We're taking caramel, thank you very much. And discard the other 2. All right, they're discarded. So now we get to add caramel to our drink. Now typically this would be face down. You wouldn't actually know what you got. But because of who we're playing and his ability, I'm not going to bother putting it face down because we already know what it is. But not being able to see the flavor cards when you add them to your drink adds a little bit of a mystery to what your final results are going to be when you go to sell it. That's when you get to look and see what you got. There we go. Okay, so that is the age phase complete. And we go to the end of round check. We did not actually sell anything this round. I've got 5 of the monies currently. I am seriously considering dropping back 4 points to bring me up to 9. That would give me some leeway, making sure I can get that bottle for selling our aged spirit. I'm still debating when I'm going to sell this. The longer I can wait, and with our ability to pick the 3 out of the 3 cards to increase the value, especially if I can get a hold of that. Plus, I wanted to get the whiskey, which I'm going to get if I age this for a while. I don't get to use the spirit bonus for a while either. I have nothing in my pantry to do that one. Am I gonna make it on the spirit points? I think I'm gonna go ahead and take the -4. 2, 3, 4. Drops us back to 12. Yeah. All right. So we held a tasting, lost 4 spirit points, gained 4 money. That'll give me much more opportunity here going forward. We should be okay on money now. If I don't get too crazy, we should be able to cover the needs, get whiskey rolling, have enough money and ingredient options to produce that so we get a higher payout. We are going to have that delay, though. I got to be cautious about. Got to be really careful about that. Can't have too many dead phases where I'm not adding labels. We've got 2 complete. 1 more as soon as we sell. I won't. If I craft next round, then sell, then go craft, sell, craft, sell. That gets me the 2 more I need. Yeah, we should still be okay, I believe. That one's guaranteed as soon as I'm going to have to sell them. I'm not going to be able to age my spirit for a long period of time. I just can't afford it. I got to get that out of the way so I can get this uncovered. That one we've already got pretty much guaranteed, but I need to know what's in that C row that we have to complete because we're, as I mentioned, running out of time. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to take an early sale on my my specialty brew just to get the points scored, get the goal unlocked, so we can keep moving forward. All right, so end of round is complete. Okay, heading into round 5. I'll have any start of round effects to perform. We go to the market phase. So, in looking through things, we've got a bit of a problem. I don't have anything except for my starting 2 items, the metal barrel and the glass bottle. I don't have any spare ingredients sitting in the warehouse or in the pantry. I have to get at least 2 grains in for either soju or whiskey, assuming I purchase the whiskey unlock, which I'm still haven't done. And if I buy the whiskey recipe unlock, I need 2 grains, which means I'd have to spend. We'll see. That's the big problem because I have to have a yeast and I have to have a water. That wipes out my market actions. And there are not 2 grains out here. Yeah, I just ran into a big problem. Oh boy. I don't have a way around this. We are going to be in trouble. I am going to end up skipping a round where I am not going to get one of the labels I need for our final goal. Yeah, there's no way around it. Oh boy. Does that throw a monkey wrench into the plans? Choice. I've got to get that, and I've got to get that. Gets me 1 money for the yeast, and then I'm going to peek at this and hope that it's a grain. It is not a grain. That is unfortunate. Okay, yeah, I got absolutely nothing I can do. We've locked out our basic market access. If I was gonna go for brewing or distilling something with grains, I'd only have 1 grain available, and that doesn't qualify for anything. You still have to have some kind of sugar. The cheapest sugar out there is the potatoes for a plant sugar. So do I save a buck, or do I just buy the barley? Use it. And then hope that the card that replaces it is also a grain. I get a second opportunity for a grain draw. Come on, Lady Luck. Nope. Lady Luck is not with me. Okay, that's the last opportunity I could think of to try to get what we needed. Yeah, such a simple problem that just occurred that I didn't notice at the end of last round was going to happen. Just because that's kind of the downside to that situation where I got excited that I got to keep all of the cards for our drink here. That meant none of those cards went back into the pantry to be able to be reused the next round. And with the 2-card limit and me having to have those 2 are guaranteed with combination of no grains or just the 1 grain, that's terrible. All right, nothing I can do about it, so we'll just keep rolling. So market phase. Do I want to buy anything else? There's no grains out. I really now. I'm gonna have to sell this this drink as is this round. I got to keep pushing forward, especially now that we've lost one of our slots. That means I'm going to need to check what collect specifically means. Do you collect the spirit label when you just pull it out of the tray, or do you actually have to sell the drink, collect it, and put it up on your board? What's the distinction there? Because it's important. Because on the last turn, whatever I distill, technically I could do the soju, so that wouldn't matter. I wouldn't have to age it, so we'd be able to do both, distill it and sell it. I think we'll still be okay as long as no other snafus come up. So I got to be cautious to make sure I maintain and not have that exact same situation come up a second time, because that'll kill us. Okay. Man, we didn't get the upgrades out that I was hoping to get out this round or this game. Just got the 1 upgrade so far. I think we're too late in for me to try to spend money on those others. No ingredients. I would like the etched crystal decanter. We are going to get paid at the end of this round. Let's go ahead and buy the crystal decanter. We had money. Money's gone already. Still no good wooden barrel. I guess it's all soju all the time from here on out. So we got the skull bottle. Skull bottle has this little house-looking symbol. That means that it is tied to whatever region that the distillery that you're running is from. So it's kind of a variable. Could be any of the 3 regions, and you just key it to whatever region your distillery is at. So the skull bottle would work as a good premium option for us. It's just got $5, gives you 2 back when you sell it, and is worth 4 spirit points, which is a good solid number. Alright, I can't afford anything else, so we're done with the market phase. Market cleanup. What goes away? 1 and 4. Again, 1 and 4. Hoping that one we get the 3 discards for. Unfortunately, the bottle that just appeared is already gone. Didn't even get an opportunity to buy it. Stainless steel barrel. There, oh, another American Standard. Where's the hogshead barrel? I know there's a better barrel in here, wooden barrel. Stainless steel barrel, huh? After selling, you may return this card to your storeroom. So it's an upgraded version of our basic metal barrel, which would be good if we had gotten it early. That would have been great because it adds 2 instead of 1, and it adds a spirit point bonus as well. So I would have definitely grabbed that early if we had seen it. Then we got another any region for the vintage decanter bottle there. Cost 5, get 2 back, and again 4. So that's that's the exact same card as we just had roll off essentially. Grains, please. Oh man, this is such a problem. This is such a problem. There's no grain. Oh, this run's gonna lose because of I can't get grains to show up. The coffee still and the orchard. Coffee still, once per distill phase, may return all removed cards, reshuffle, and remove the top and bottom cards again. So it gives you a do-over. And then at the start of a turn, add a basic fruit card to your pantry. So you get some fruit trees in an orchard. So, yeah, this is very bad. We're going to have the exact same problem next round. Because now I have no grain to purchase. If I take 2 grain, that means I can't get the yeast and the water to fill in the basic requirements of my recipe. So bad. Oh, okay. Them's the breaks. That is it. Market cleanup complete. Distill phase. Not a lot of excitement going on here, unfortunately. We got 1 sugar and 1 alcohol, which means we are going to have the same problem as last time. Now what I need to happen, I need the water or the yeast to drop out. Actually, what I want is I want the water and the yeast to drop out, and then I want to not use my spirit save so that we return both of these to the pantry. Because we still qualify, well, we qualify for nothing. We're not going to get our soju this time. Ugh. Yeah, this all of a sudden has taken a dark turn. A dark turn. Well, however, we'll see what happens. Now I'm out of money, and we're not going to earn much money, and I didn't even get the whiskey. We're gonna run into several problems here. Without being able to switch over to whiskey payouts, I don't think I'm going to have enough spirit points at the end. And I think I'm going to run into the same problem I just ran into, where I'm not going to be able to get the minimum necessary to even make soju, which is going to make it so we don't get our 5 non-vodka grain labels also. All right. The barley is out, and the great. The 2 that I did not want. All right, barley's going back in, and that goes to the pantry. I can use that as an either or, so I guess it's essentially the same as one of these. All right, best we can do. And we do have a grain in the mix, so that means that we have made vodka. Still phase is not quite complete. Throw in our metal barrel. Okay. Moving on to the cell phase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 2, 3, 4. We'll barrel back. Lead to the premium. But same problem. We don't have a grain out for me to purchase. Meaning I have to grab 2 grains, which means I won't be able to meet one of the minimum requirements, which means we have the exact same problem. Oh my goodness. I guess what I could do is I wanted to use this label to pick up the whiskey recipe, but now, hilariously, I'm going to have to take this one. Well, that doesn't help me because I have to discard a card to gain a card, so then I'm back into the same problem. I was going to grab like the barley card with my take one from the truck, which I usually use to pick up some expensive piece of equipment or a fancy barrel. But that doesn't help because I have to discard one, which puts me back in the same problem. I just swap cards for still coming up one short. Oh my. And we absolutely can't skip 2. What if I grabbed... No, it's the same problem no matter what. Does not help. The market won't refresh till after my purchase phase. Yeah, I think I'm hamstrung again. Wow, how did I get into this situation? The only hope, and it's a terrible hope, is I'd have to buy like the anything from the list and pray that the replacement card is a grain that I could also afford. And that would just completely wreck all of my cash for getting anything else done. Wow. We're going to get paid out here, so cash isn't going to be as big a problem. I can throw money at the problem. We might be able to squeak out of it. All right. Well, I cannot take that ability, period. So I think I'll take the recipe unlock for whiskey with 2 turns to go. It means I'm going to get to make, age, and sell 1 whiskey if I do that. What's in the item stack? Wooden barrel. Could take a fancy bottle. Yeah, it's fancy bottle or it's American Standard barrel. But it's feeling like I have to abandon my whiskey run. I'm sure I'm going to come up short on spirit points because I never got to switch over to whiskey. And soju just isn't going to make enough. Yeah, I got to make the try. Let's go ahead and get the whiskey unlock. Is that even possible? The situation we're in. That means next round I'd have to distill it, which means I would need 2 grain. I just don't know if it's possible. I got to get 2 grain anyway, so we'll give it a try. Means I do have to make sure I pick up a barrel. All right. However, we've applied our label. Fortunately, we're still not where we need to be on the number of labels because of that stupid vodka we just got stuck on. All right, age phase. We do have an age phase. Oh, actually, we're selling. I'm not done selling. So we sold the one that we distilled this round. Now we're going to do our fancy one. This one's going to be a little complicated. So we'll flip this over. Let's work the cards out first, and then we'll add in the bonuses from the token. So, going for cash first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 of the money. And bottom corner, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus 20. So 28 for the spirit points. That takes us to 44. Stay over here. Seems like a lot, but we got to get to 87 on our current path. Okay. Oop, and I forgot the bottle. I've got to add a bottle to it. So 2 more money, and we do meet the spirit label requirement, so 4 more victory points. 48. And we sold a spirit worth 20 or more. Select 2 different spirit labels. Heck yeah. We have 2 different spirit labels. So we finish that one immediately. Another spirit point. And another money. Which is... Alright, well, we're all set if we can get across the finish line with a last goal, and we still need like 30 some points, spirit points, which is what we're not going to make. We're going to come up short on the spirit points, looks like. Okay, put that away. Same place. That aside. All right, and we get to take another bonus. We've got 25 money. Just how much cash am I going to have to throw at this problem we're going to have next round? The only choices I have now are 1 free item, discard a card, which I can't do, so I still can't take that one, or gain 5 money and 2 points. So it's really just between those last two, or the free item or the 5 points. Another barrel, another bottle. To go the barrel route, we'd be hoping to make whiskey, which we have to do. I absolutely have to do that. All right, so we're going to take the 1 free item. Now I just need to get 2 grain and either a water or a yeast somehow. Which means I'm going to be buying, and hoping a grain shows up that I can also buy. Okay, age phase is complete, or sell phase is complete, age phase, we don't have anything aging in the warehouse this round. End of turn check, we did sell, so we can't do a tasting. Off to round 6. Okay, so I don't see any way we're going to make the spirit point goal. We're going to come up way short. I think we'll finish the other goal, the getting the tree of goals done, but I don't think we're going to be able to meet the spirit point total. We had that dead round, and I didn't get switched over to whiskey early enough. I just don't see us making 30, however many, 37 or whatever points in this round and next round. We don't have a good bottle collection for a bonus. Oh yeah, speaking of bottle collection, I gotta hold on to the premium bottles. I totally forgot if I had used another premium bottle. I think that is the only one that I used. So we're not going to get a bottle collection bonus at the end. If I was going to keep money, we get a little bit, but that's a tiny amount. I mean, 25 money is only 5 points. I just don't see it happening. So we'll see how close we can get, but I can't see a way to reverse or improve our position enough with spirit points in the short time we've got left. Like I said, it's very, very tight framework that you've got to work within with that 7-turn limit. All right, let's go ahead and take the round, though. So, no starter round effects. Market phase. Oh, my God. What am I going to do here? So, we're going to take... I got to take the water option, so I got to use that for... I don't need the money at the moment. I need the peek at the ingredient card. So, we're going to take the water for one of our choices. That lets me peek at this top card here. Please be a grain. Please be a grain. Oh my God, thank you. So we're going to pay 5 and get 2 back. We have a grain. So my second action from the basic market will be to grab a second grain. Oh, now watch. This will be the one time that I end up being told to discard both my grains. We'll drop a grain from the head and the tail. And I'll once again be stymied. All right, that got us to the minimum amount we need to at least make soju. We can do whiskey. If I keep both grains, we can do whiskey, which gets us a little closer. The problem is just that we have to age it. I have a barrel for it, so we're already prepped there. So do I throw more money at the problem? I'm done with my 2 I can do here. I've got cash. What's going to help me? Orchard, no. Coffee still would get me a reshuffle if I did happen to drop both of them out. So that's definitely a possibility. Bring the the warehouse manager's still up. But our big score is gone. We're only going to get to use it once. So that's not going to help. And the tour guide gaining some money is not really going to help either. So none of that's going to do much. I could preemptively purchase these 2. That's 10 of my 22 remaining money. That way we have a barrel for the next round's distillation. And we have a bottle for this round that'll give us some more points. So I am going to buy that for certain for the current drink we're about to make. So I think we'll spend... I could spend 5, 10, 14 securing this round and the redraw. We only got 1 round to go, but I need to make sure I keep a little money. We're not going to sell anything this round, so I've got to be able to carry over enough to guarantee we can get what we need next round. I'll end up back in the same problem I already had. So... I think 8 remaining will be enough. So let's buy all 3 of those. So put the decanter there, put the barrel there, and coffee still there. Okay, and I'm done. There's the hog's head. You finally show up right after I can't really take advantage. That's wonderful. The trucker specialist. At the beginning of the round, you may purchase one card from the truck. So, a way of digging into the discards and grabbing what you need. Be a pretty cool one to have early. So that's the barrel I've been hoping to see, and it's too late now. The ex-bourbon hogshead. 7. It costs 7. That's one that you spend your upgrade on. Either grabbing it out of the discard if it's already hit the discard, or getting the free item. You grab that one, because it saves you a bunch of money. And the benefit is, when aging for the first time, add an additional flavor card. So it's get you more flavor, get you a point of bonus. Man, that actually seems expensive for just one spirit point and one flavor card. All right, however, and unfortunately the pirate bottle is the Americas region, so it doesn't really help us. Are we done? I think I'm done. Yes, we're done. Market cleanup. So 2 and 4. Orchard and tour guide are gone. Replaced by the coppersmith during the distill phase, may add one additional yeast. And the co-op specialist, co-op manager specialist, beginning of the round, add any one basic ingredient to your pantry. So a free ingredient, add any one basic ingredient to your pantry. Holy crap, would that be powerful. I mean, it doesn't say any cost value, so you could be grabbing the 2 cost sugars out of there every round and doing fancy sugar drinks, which are the expensive ones. Yeah, that's another one of those where you really, if you got it early, you would kind of plan your run around that kind of a card. All right, next row. Cool. Yes, get rid of all of these cards. Bring out some grains, please. Not that I have a ton of money left. At least 1 or 2 grains. There's millet, costs 3. 2 mountain spring waters and a millet. Mountain spring water, if removed from the spirit stack during the distill phase, add a basic water card to the spirit you just distilled. Which is cool. That way you still retain the water card, and that goes into your pantry, and you can use it again the next turn. Millet's not great, but good enough. The hogshead stuck around. Not that it really helps me at this point. The plastic liter bottle. Oh, yeah. Only costs 1 to buy plastic liter bottles, and it pays out 4, but it then lowers your spirit points by 1. And then a canister bottle premium. And it is European. That'd be a good one for us. Or an okay one. It's cheap. All right, market cleanup phase is complete. Moving to the distill phase, we've got 2 sugars and 2 alcohol. All right, head and tail. So we're good on our grains. We have successfully made something. And I am going to keep the water, because that leaves me the variable one that I can add to my pantry. All right, so we do have our 2 grains, which qualifies for the whiskey brew we're trying to make. Throw it in the American Standard barrel. And the whiskey label. Still phase complete. Moving to the sell phase. We got nothing to sell. Moving to the age phase. Into the warehouse with you are 3 cards. We got the peaty flavor. We got cherry. And we got manure. Tastes like manure. We'll use that word, manure. funky barnyard flavor, odd, but actually adds some complexity. Sure, it does. We'll go with cherry. Now we'll go with peaty. Okay, so we ended up not needing the coffee still to save us that time. Yeah, we're all done, and we'll sell it in our vintage decanter bottle next round, or last round. So, age phase is complete. End of round check. I cannot afford to spend any spirit points in exchange for money. So, how are we doing for product? We've got the variable, which means I can't do double grain there, but I can do 1 yeast, 1 grain, 1 grain. That gets us the minimum for either soju or whiskey, depending. All right, so we're okay there. We're not completely locked out like we were previously. Yeah, all right. Let's do this thing. Final round coming up. All right, top of the round. We got no starting round effects. Market phase. So, basic market. We have to do... Now, I think I will take the money on this one. So, 6 grain. Get our 1 money for the yeast. And I gotta buy the millet. That doesn't leave a lot. Unfortunately, that means I do have the barrel. We can do the whiskey. Oh, I forgot something. Earlier, I have to do a rollback. I always forget this. Constantly. Every game I've played, I've forgotten this. When we sold our premium brew that we had just the 1 flavor in, when you sell these aged drinks, you need to remember this. I always forget this bonus. I forgot it last time. So what it is, if you can't see the small text, is it's a spirit or an aged spirit flavor bonus. The more flavors that are in the drink, the higher the spirit point bonus is. Unfortunately, we only had 1 flavor, so we only gained 1 point. It ratchets up pretty quick if you're willing to keep things in the warehouse for an extended period of time. So at 3 flavors, it jumps to 6 points. At 5 flavors, it's triple. It goes to 15 points. So it goes from 1 to 1 to 3, or 2 to 1 to 3 to 1. So you get increasing rewards by keeping it in the warehouse. But it's hard to do because you need that money. It's just really hard. But I forgot to take that earlier, so I'll try not to forget it this time. All right. Yeah, so we bought that. That moves over. Oh, another grain. I don't have the money. We're 1 money short. So it's the last round. The only thing money is going to do for me is I can turn 5 money into 1 spirit point. So the other option, I've already got the barrel. I've already got... I don't have a bottle, but we're not going to get to sell this final brew, so the bottle's not actually going to be useful anyway, so there's no point in buying a bottle. So that one's going to be used here, and I don't need a bottle, so none of that's useful. I can't afford anything anywhere, so yeah, we're done. Market phase is complete. Moving to market cleanup, which doesn't matter because this is the last phase. There's no need to do a market refresh because we're never going to deal with the market again. Market cleanup's done. Moving through the distillation phase. So same as before. Got 2 sugars and 2 alcohol. And uh-oh. It finally happened. I'm taking my do-over. All right, coffee still. I do this twice in a row. Oh my goodness. Head? Oh, you better not do this to me. And we lose. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. All right. I add the grain back in. Other grain goes to the pantry. And I have 1 grain. We did not make either of the drinks. We made vodka again. Which means that we have now failed in both our final goal to get 5 of the labels, because now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. I had to get that in order to get the 5th label. And we're not going to, because we're not going to score any points, we're going to fail on the spirit points too. Oh, wow. I did everything I could to try to guarantee that wasn't going to happen, and it still happened. If I had had 1 more money, I would have bought that grain and thrown it into the mix and guaranteed we would have succeeded, but it was 1 money short. Oh, that's horrible. All right. Well, and that's going to be vodka again. Good old vodka. There we are. Distill phase complete. And going on to the sell phase. So, 1, 2, 3, 4 money. Plus 1 is 5 money for the vodka. And 1, 2 spirit points. Plus 2, 4 spirit points. Takes us to 54. Barrel goes back. Alcohol goes back. Whoops. Did I? Oh no, we've got that here. All right, so it just doesn't really matter what order we take these in now. So I'll take the 2 spirit points since that's worth more than the 5 money, which would convert to a single spirit point. All right, time to sell the other brew. So we'll just throw this up here and take 2 more points. Okay, whiskey. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. And this is, yeah, this is whiskey. So 12. 12 spirit points. Pretty low. And we had 1 flavor, so 1 more. Okay. I think that covered everything. We got our labels. Got the flavor bonus that time. Got our points. We are not going to get that last one up there because we're missing a label for a non-vodka. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5. Is that going to put us within? It's going to put us super close to the point total. Had we not had that happen there, we'll see how close we actually manage. All right, cell phase is complete. There is nothing left to age. End of round check. I'm obviously not turning in. Well, I sold something, so we can't do the tasting. And that is it. That is finished. So we go to the end game scoring. Any spirits still in the warehouse, we would score, but we wouldn't get to add a bottle because we're not selling it. We wouldn't get the flavor bonus because, again, we're not selling it. You would just count up the points for the various ingredients in the card like we have been doing. That's what you would score for the ingredient cards, the barrel, the recipe, etc. Bottle collection, almost nothing. We get nothing because we've only got one. What did I use for that? Oh, I didn't add my bottle in. Never mind. I always forget something. So I was supposed to put this bottle into the mix as well. So 2 more money, 4 more points, and then we have 2 from the same region, which gives me 2 more points. So 6 SP plus 2 money. So 2 money takes us to 77. We're still short. And then we get to convert this 5 to 1. So 1, 2, 3 more points from our money collection. And distillery upgrades. 1 point, 2 points for our distillery upgrades. And that's it. That's where we finish up. So we missed out on our final goal because of that shenanigans. Well, 2 different times. One where we couldn't get the cards we needed to do even a basic mixture, which lost us 1 of the labels. And then that last one where we dropped the grains out. Back-to-back draws, which is hilarious. Those were extremely consequential. We didn't get to make whiskey, which would have earned us 8 more points than the vodka did. And we ended up at 82 points. Yeah, I think we would have made it had that last thing not happened. So our total that we needed, if we had finished the goal, was 87. So with 8 more points, we would have been at 90. So yeah, we would have made it. So had that not happened and we got the whiskey reward, it would have completed the goal and got us 8 more points and put us over our point total. So it all came down to that double grain drop in the distillation phase. That's the only reason why we lost. I find that hilarious. Only thing I could have done to prevent it would have been had 1 more buck. I was $1 short from actually making that happen. So hopefully I didn't lose $1 through misplay or forgetting something earlier in the game. That'd be awful. But there you go, folks. That is it. That is a full game of Distilled. It's a great time. Bunch of fun. There are random options or variables, of course, like most games have. But you can try to plan around them and, plan for the danger. And I just messed up. I'm trying to think back what I could have done differently. I didn't realize the potential consequences from that middle turn we had where I was completely dry on resources and I could not get all the cards I needed in order to make sure I got one of the good distillations out. So I'm not sure I could have anticipated that. That would take a lot more play than I've had so far to anticipate that kind of a problem. But it made for some interesting times. I had to do some thinking, and I had a great time. So hope you enjoyed the gameplay for Distilled. I shall return in the future with more board game content. So if you're enjoying this kind of content on the channel, super important you let me know, either via comments down below or through any of the normal means. And I'm going to keep plugging away at it, having a great time. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Stay safe.